Email bothsides106@live.com. Send your WhatsApp voice notes, audio messages, and text messages to 876-365-3346. Remember, we have two ears and one mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. So stay with us as we listen to both sides of the story. 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 Both sides of the story.
Ready? It is Monday, the 2nd of September, 2024, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
Sides of the story.
Hello to all the children listening to us here on Both Sides of the Story on Power 106 FM. We trust you have had a favorable day so far, and notwithstanding the fact that there are still quite a few issues to be dealt with so that the students can have a smooth return to the academic year. So we welcome them and wish them all the best as they seek to continue their pursuit for a quality education. We also want to bring to your attention some notable milestones, and we look forward to that. We're, of course, as usual, going to be taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, and the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. So this is the program where we give you more time to express yourself, to share your thoughts, your ideas, your suggestions, to have your questions answered, etc. And so we look forward to your full participation. After all, it is your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM. And so, as we said, we look forward to your calls on 876-922-4112-5, and the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. For those of you doing history, the year was 1492. Before daybreak, On this day in 1492, Christopher Columbus ordered his fleet of 3 ships to weigh anchor and leave the sheltered waters of the Rio Tinto for the Atlantic. Soon the wind filled their sails, and the ships came to life with creaking timbers and billowing sails. The Santa Maria of 100 tons, the low, swift sailing Pinta, a caravel, and the midget Nina. There were 90 men aboard the fleet, most of them from the villages and townships around Cadiz, a port in southwest Spain. So that's a bit of the history. Also, Elisha Gray, the American inventor, was born on this day in 1835. He was an American electrical engineer who co-founded the Western Electric Manufacturing Company. Gray is best known for his development of a telephone prototype in 1876 in Highland Park, Illinois, and is considered by some writers to be the true inventor of the variable resistance telephone, despite losing out to Alexander Graham Bell for the telephone patent. Gray is also considered to be the father of the modern music synthesizer and was awarded over 70 patents for his inventions. Gray conceived of a primitive closed circuit television system that he called the telephote, Telephote. Pictures would be focused on an array of selenium cells, and signals from the selenium cells would be transmitted to a distant station on separate wires. At the receiving end, each wire would open or close a shutter to recreate the image. Haiti's dictator Simon flees on U.S. warship near Jamaica is another bit of the history. And to close out this first bit, Alexander Graham Bell died on this day in 1922. He was an eminent scientist, inventor, engineer, and innovator who is credited with inventing the first practical telephone. And we'll share some more with you perhaps a little later on. In the meantime, let's greet those of you who are tuning in for the first time. Welcome back if you have been here before. We look forward to your calls on 876-922-4112 and the text line same as the WhatsApp number 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. So let's get on with it as we continue with more on your program, both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world, and taking your calls on 876-922-4112 876-922-4112. We look forward to your usual calls and your messages here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. As we continue to take your calls, your questions, your messages, we're ready for you, ready to listen to you and to share with you on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. So what we also want to do is to look at another area which we will be checking on in a little while. But for right now, we're giving you, our faithful listeners, an opportunity to get in your questions, your comments, your suggestions, your calls from early on, and we'll put in place some more of those. But we're starting off at this point just to share with you the history of Jamaica and the rest of the world. The Gleaner reported on this day in 1962 that the public would have the facilities of 10 modern receiving sets. Right, so I was saying the Gleaner reported on this day in 1962 that the public would have the facilities of 10 modern receiving sets in the Victoria Park for viewing the televised program of Jamaica's independence ceremony at Gordon House and evening programs of entertainment and information from Friday, August 3 to Wednesday, August 8. A smaller number of receiving sets were being installed in Coke Hall for private viewing. These facilities were being made available through the Gleaner Company and N.V. Phillips of Holland, who together made an offer to the government through the Independence Celebrations Committee to provide temporary television operation as a service to the people of Jamaica. For those of us who take television for granted, that's where it's coming from, in Jamaica. 9 years later, on March 18, 1971, Jamaica's first Philips television factory was opened at 172C Orange Street in downtown Kingston. Let's take a call, 876-922-4112 to 5. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dervan.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Churchman here, sir.
Welcome, Churchman.
Yes, Dervan, last week, I think it was Friday, I hear you were asking somebody want my number.
Oh, it was you? Hold a moment, please. Hold on, please.
You're listening to yes. 106 FM. The time is now
2:15.
Join us weekdays from 6 to 8 p.m. for Power Play, Power 106 FM's flagship program dedicated to the world of sports.
Welcome to another edition of Power Play. My name is Cliff Williams.
Power Play with Cliff Williams, focusing on everything sports in Jamaica and around the world. Make sure to tune in to Power Play, providing invigorating sports analysis and discussion. Weekdays from 6 to 8 p.m. on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
Thanks for holding, Churchman. Please continue.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, I was listening to it, and I was in sentence of it, so.
Yeah, there's a break in the signal. Let's see. Hopefully it recalibrates and is restored in a matter of minutes. Hello, are you there? No, it looks like we lost the connection. Sorry about that. Feel free to call us back on 876-922-4112-5. And remember the text line, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. That's the text line, same as the WhatsApp number. The regular numbers to call, 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. 2 to 5. And there's another one, or is it the same one coming in here now? Let's see. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Malcolm. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Sorry about the break in the transmission. Well, not the transmission, but the telephone connection. Mhm. Go ahead, please.
Listen,
Yes.
yes. I am 5 feet 6 tall, dark complexion. You see, and I'm a Libra. Mr. Malcolm, I actually love my mind surround safety, and I am calling you from up in the hills now. Very cool and nice, and sunny.
Well,
And I'm
you're
saying
doing
to
well.
you that yes,
You're doing well.
yes, so far,
Mhm.
you know, but I have to speak easy.
Mhm.
So, um, yes, a lot of these agency of the state, if they doesn't change how they go about carrying out the people's business, it is going to bring this country to its knee. And I'm saying to the Prime Minister of this country, please put on your Wellington, your khaki suit, and check these agency of the state if they are following the protocol that is laid down there. Now I'm talking one specifically, such as the FLA. When you make an
That's it.
application
Hold
there
on.
and you
Hold on.
call
Not
it,
everybody knows what that is. Let's remind them. FLA, Firearm Licensing Authority.
yes, when you do application and you call up to do a search on it, or to get a follow up, they are talking to you as if it is a privilege. These people must travel out, man, and go to the state, man, and get some training. Because it seems like who's training them here, something is wrong. They just rough. When you go to the state and you go and do application, if you fail, they give you a stipend to come back to do it again the next day. And they smile. These people they just muscling up and just say, pray for you fail. What is wrong with this damn nation, Mr. Malcolm? Huh?
Well, it's
If they do
unfortunate
not
that
change their ways, Mr. Malcolm, they are going to bring this country to its knee. And these are the few words I'm shaping with you today.
yeah,
Mr.
it's a
Malcolm, you have a good day,
it's a
sir.
matter of attitude, people's attitude. That's what it boils down to. Uh, Sorry about that. There's another one coming up in line. Hello? No, or it dropped afterwards. Maybe it did drop. Hello? All right. Please call us back if you're hearing us. Sorry about that. As we continue with more here on both sides of the story, Poro 106 FM. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 5. And the text line is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. I wonder if someone is still on this line here, or the phone is playing tricks. There seems to be some amount of freezing going on as well. Let's try and reconnect. Phone is not responding positively. Sorry about that. So whoever is trying to get us, or who is online listening or trying to listen, so sorry about that. But you can keep trying. 876-922-4112 to 5. 876-922-4112 to 5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. So something is not functioning as it should here. With the device, we're trying to correct it, but coming up blank. Let's see. We hope this is not someone who is still on the line, not knowing that he or she is in fact still holding on the line and therefore holding up the line, because the the green circle is now bouncing around like a ball. So something is out of whack here now. All right, we'll try and see how best we can sort it out as we continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, on Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaner's website, go-jamaica.com, and taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. But the system has gone berserk on this device. But keep the calls coming in if you're able to, or if you are able to WhatsApp us or text us, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. And the regular calling lines once again, 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. All right, so the device is not interested in transmitting this afternoon, so we'll have to try other ways and means here on Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, and the text line 876-365-3346. It's like someone has jammed the line. That's some kind of jamming. So it is self-destructing. I don't know. So if you can send us text messages and WhatsApp messages, those would be fine if this problem persists. So you can type those messages and send them on to us. Text line and the WhatsApp number here on Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Let's see how many of these messages we're able to take. And we have some in the backlog as well. We have quite a few in the backlog. So we'll go through and see what we find here on Both Sides of the Story. Cuban in Georgia says, "Good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. Our Prime Minister is taking orders from the monarch and the King of London. Both political parties have sold their souls to the enslavers and are double agents of the British monarchy and are working in the best interest of London. We have to abolish both parties and the monarchy as head of state of Jamaica." And that's coming from Cuban in Georgia. Thank you very much, Cuban in the state of Georgia. Let's see this one here from Patrick. aka Jamaica Love. Oh, and there was this sad news. We didn't get to process this bit of sad news that his son was killed Sunday night in Waterhouse. This message came in on Friday. That's when the message came in. Condolences to Patrick Guthrie, otherwise known as Jamaica Love. Sending the message to us on Friday that they killed his son on Sunday night in Waterhouse. Condolences. Terribly sorry to hear that. Terribly, terribly sorry. And this one says, this is to remind you that my daughter is working to spread Jamaican culture to the world. Okay. Thank you for sharing. That's from Hermin, Miss June in Norway. Thank you for your message. And hello as well to Sharon Smith of the Union of Jamaican Alumni Associations. They are also continuing to play their part in supporting our students in more ways than one. So that information being shared. Angelia Christian is looking forward to coming to Jamaica to do voluntary work as usual. And in due course, you will hear what comes out of that. Arlene Clark says, good day, Dervan. Could you find out what happened to the bus schedule for NMIA? I have been waiting for 12 hours and it is 3:34, as in 15:34 hours, and no bus to take you from the airport to downtown. We'll come back with more in just a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now 2:30. The Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority, JACRA, is responsible for licensing, certification, cess administration, and the provision of training and advisory services to farmers and other key stakeholders, as it regulates coffee, cocoa, coconut, and the spices including pimento, nutmeg, ginger, and turmeric. We own the Jamaica Blue Mountain and Jamaica High Mountain coffee trademarks. Please call us at 876-758-1259 or email legal@jacra.org.
It is a Monday afternoon, just after 2:30, and that means time for Land Solutions. Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4113-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. And we're standing by to take your calls. So let's say hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Attorney at Law, Calicia Findley.
Dervan, good afternoon, and good afternoon, listeners. Thank you for tuning in to the institution of Land Solutions. As Dervan just said, I'll be your host for today. I'm coming to September, and I jump right into the questions which have already started pouring in. And just to add another number to what Dervan listed, another text and WhatsApp number is 876-881-5254. Again, that's 876-881-5254. Is it legal for a tenant to rent out the house already rented to them? So, tenant rents the house. Is it legal then for that tenant to turn around and rent it out to someone else? It actually is legal. A tenancy or a tenant has an interest in the property. We refer to it as, excuse me, we refer to that interest as a leasehold interest. And according to the law, when you have a leasehold interest, one of the rights that you acquire under such an interest is the right to lease the property yourself. So if you think about it, we are tenants and in turn we are landlords. The A rents this property to B, who can turn around and rent it to C. So it is very much legal. Usually, however, though, in rental agreements or lease agreements, there is a clause that says the tenant should not sublet or sublease or rent out the property to someone else without the permission of the landlord. And that permission should not be quote unquote unreasonably withheld. Again, lease agreements, tenancy agreements usually have a clause that says that a tenant is not supposed to rent the property to someone else without the permission of the landlord. So yes, while it is legal, most contracts stipulate that they should have the landlord's permission. If that clause is there and the tenant turns around and sublets the property to someone else without the landlord's permission, then that of course is a breach of contract and that would be grounds for terminating the lease. And let me just say too, there is no difference between the word lease and rent. Legally, we use the term interchangeably. They mean the same thing. In some instances, um, or should I say, maybe layman terms, most people think a lease refers to a longer period, let's say a 99-year period or a 50-year period. And most people use the term rent to refer to a shorter period in a month-to-month situation or a yearly situation. But really, they're the same thing. When you're doing an agreement, it can say rental agreement, it can say lease agreement, it can be for 1 year, it can be for 100 years. Again, the terms are used interchangeably. So don't think that they mean something else. Again, our numbers to call in live on air 876-922-4113 and the text and WhatsApp line 876-881-5254. Good afternoon. When it's a state of make the will, is it true that for the will to become legal, it has to be probated? Yes. Yes, it certainly has to be probated. Many persons think that once a will is written, that when the person dies, that's it. At the end of the process and the property now becomes theirs and it can be transferred. But a will indeed has to be probated. So again, someone writes a will, they pass away, they leave a will, the will has to be probated. What is probate? Probate is the official process of filing the will in court, having the court review it, ensuring it is valid, and then issuing a court order, basically saying that this will is valid and the executors are hereby duly appointed. That process of filing it in court and getting the order from the court that it's valid, that process is referred to as probate. It is a 2/3 part process. So let's say someone dies and leaves a house. The will is filed in court, probate is granted. Probate is the official appointment of the executors. and giving them permission to distribute. But estate duties have to be paid to the government. That is done through Tax Administration Jamaica. So after probate has been granted, a copy of the probate and other supporting documents are filed at the Stamp Office / Tax Administration Jamaica for the payment of estate duties, death taxes. Even if there are no estate duties to be paid, let's say the value of the estate is under $10 million, those documents still have to be filed so we obtain the official nil assessment. That's stage two. When that is finished, we then have to file documents, the title, etc., at the title's office, officially putting the executor on or executors on the title so they can go ahead and sell or transfer to the beneficiary. So, yes, you are correct. After a will is written, once the person dies, it has to be probated. Don't just think that you have a will in your hand and that's it, the property belongs to you. I've seen where that mindset, where that thinking has gotten persons into trouble. I recall speaking to someone once, I think it was either their father or their grandfather's will. They had it in their possession for a long time, maybe 20, 30 years. And they thought that because they had it in their possession, that meant that the property belonged to them. And lo and behold, someone was occupying the property. You will go to him in because the story will end. Someone had been occupying the property for over 15 years. That person acquired a legitimate title based on adverse possession. So please don't just stop there. Probate your will, and not only do you need to have the will probated and you pay the estate duties to the government, remember you have to either occupy, take care of, show some physical connection to the land. And it's all well and good that you will take probate, pay it to the government, and your name on title, but you don't know what's happening on the property. You don't know who's living there. You know that someone else has been there for 15 years and they've gone ahead and acquired title. Let me jump over to our text line. The same number, it is 15254. How do you overturn or cancel a fraudulent title? It's not easy. Let me start there. Basically, it's only a court order that can overturn a title. So let us say a title has been issued and you dispute it. Let's say the person claimed that they were there for over 12 years and you are saying, no, I know that's a lie. The title has been issued and you are now saying the title should not have been issued because it is a fraudulent application. You can't just send a letter or take a phone call to the title office and say, yes, I know this is incorrect. Go ahead and cancel the title. You have to file suit in court against that person, have to go to trial, and then an order is made by the court. So really that is, it's only with overturn a title, and it's not easy. If you are in a situation like that, if you suspect there is a fraudulent title and you have an interest in the property, I would first tell you to put a caveat on the property. That's a temporary plot on the property. If the person tries to sell it, transfer, you'll be notified. So again, don't stop at putting the caveat on the title, following it up with court action. And maybe just think to, and I think I say this all the time with sales, with estate. If you have not received, if you're not a beneficiary under a relative's will, don't just automatically think that the will is fraudulent. I mean, I've seen instances where persons have said, yes, I am leaving this property for you, Johnny. This is my dying wish, you're going to get this property. And lo and behold, the person changes their mind, they don't inform Johnny, they're under no obligation to inform Johnny. When Johnny finds out, Johnny says, no, man, this cannot be true. Someone must have influenced this person, and they file suit thinking that it's fraudulent. And it isn't. Persons change their mind all the time, especially when it comes to their will. And for titles too, if a title is issued, let's say someone applies for it by adverse possession, the big person not to tell you that it's a fraudulent application. Because as many of you know, something we speak about that almost on a daily basis, you think you have the right to the property, but you haven't taken back there in 20 years. You know, many persons come to us and say, my father, my great grandfather, my great grandmother left this land to me, and they haven't seen it in 30 years, and they know where to locate the property. So don't just automatically pay. That is fraudulent. I went to pay my taxes and found out someone else has paid it, my property taxes, I should say. How can I find out who has paid it? And how do I stop them? Well, I had a dollar for this job. They have to pay some person's property taxes for them. Or who can you find out who has paid your property taxes? You can. The tax office is not going to release that information. And how can you stop them? Unfortunately, you can't. The government, when you're going to pay your property taxes, whether it's your property taxes or someone else's property taxes, the government, they're not going to say, well, what's your connection with the property? They're going to gladly accept the money that is being paid for the property taxes. That's clear. And the government's worldwide welcome the revenue. So they're absolutely not going to release that information to you. And there's no way you can stop them, really. What you can do is try as much as possible to be vigilant, always stay one step ahead. Um, let's just say you've gone in and you see that someone has paid property taxes for 2023 to 2024. Pay for 2024 to 2025. I know I have some clients who are always one step ahead, 1 or 2 years ahead. Because as many of you know, persons think that by paying property taxes, you can acquire ownership in the property. If you're loyal listeners, you know that's not the case. So they think if they start paying someone else property taxes, eventually they can claim it. And for persons who this has or where this has happened, as much as possible, like I said, stay vigilant. So many persons haven't paid their property taxes in 3, 4, 5 years, and when they go to pay, they realize everything is paid up. So please keep checking, keep paying, but unfortunately, government is not going to tell you who has paid their property taxes, and there's really no way you can stop it. This is Land Solution.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Morning Agenda continues the tradition of providing a unique platform for healthy public debate. Weekdays from 7:15 to 9 a.m. Join Jody and Corey on Mondays and Tuesdays, and Kemwan McEachron on Wednesdays and Thursdays, while they alternate on Fridays, as they set the agenda and break down the issues, and keep you informed on what matters to you most. Morning Agenda, speaking with the stakeholders, movers and shakers of our day, serving listeners in Jamaica and around the world. Stay tuned to the Morning Agenda on Power 106 FM, weekdays 7:15 to 9 a.m., where we set the agenda.
You're listening to Land Solutions during both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Land Solutions, the program where all your land related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876 922 4113 to 5. 876-922-4113 to 5. The text line and the WhatsApp number are one and the same: 876-881-5254. 876-881-5254. And you can also message us on 876-365-3346. Back to you, Calicia Findlay.
Thank you, Dervan Malcolm. Continuing with our WhatsApp messages on 876-881-5254. Can I get a loan from the NHT to farm on land instead of building on it? I got a similar question. Well, I think it was last week when someone was asking if instead of using the money from NHT towards the purchase of a home, if they could just get the money as a quote unquote regular loan and do whatever they want with it. So, and the answer to that was no, by the way. This question: can I get a loan from the NHT to farm on land instead of building on it? Best of my knowledge, and I'm always open for correction, that's the answer is no. Again, it's the National Housing, emphasis on housing trust. So I don't think you can get a loan from the NHT to farm on land instead of building on it. In fact, if the property you're interested in buying, if one of the covenants on the title says it is to be used solely for agricultural purposes, then you won't be able to get a loan from the NHT unless you get that covenant / condition on the title removed. So again, monies from the National Housing Trust are to be used to finance the purchase of a home if you are an existing homeowner toward the improvement of your property. Let me jump over to Facebook, and that's facebook.com/land solutions. If there is a joint mortgage and one party doesn't live within the house, but still pays the mortgage, can the other person file for adverse possession? So if there is a joint mortgage and one party doesn't live in the house but still pays the mortgage, can the other person file for adverse possession? You may not be successful in this application because once there is what we're finding out, once there is a mortgage on the title, the National Land Agency isn't approving applications for adverse possession. If it's a case, however, where let's say there are two of you on the title, you are living in the house, you are paying the mortgage, you are the only person I should say paying the mortgage, you can have the mortgage discharged, meaning pay it off. Then in a situation like that, the title office will approve the application for adverse possession. So that can be done if you are the only person. Is a transfer of interest dependent on the value of the property? Listening in from Brixton in the UK. Thank you so much for listening. So is a transfer of interest dependent on the value of the property? Yes. Yes, it's most certainly is. So let us say you have a $10 million home, you're giving it away to a relative. You still have to pay transfer tax, and the transfer tax is going to be paid from the value of the property. In this case, will be $10 million. Same as if you were selling the house for $10 million. Transfer tax is based on the value of the property. The transfer tax is 2%. So again, if the property is valued at $10 million, 2% of $10 million would be $200,000. So your transfer tax would be $200,000. And a reminder, you still pay transfer tax even if you're giving the property away. So if it's a gift, you still pay transfer tax. If it's not, the transfer tax is less, it's still the same 2%. If you're selling a property for 10 million, or if you're giving it away and it's valued at 10 million, you still have to pay transfer tax. And lots of persons still think that you either pay a reduced transfer tax or that you pay no transfer tax at all once it's a gift. Not at all. The stamp duty is nominal for both. Back in the day, it was much more, but now to pay transfer tax. If it's a sale, if it's a sale, stamp duty is $5,000. If it's a gift, it's $100. Can you legally claim adverse possession if you had permission to be there? Yes. If if you can show that permission had expired. So the basis of adverse possession is that you are, and I don't want to use the same words, but really that's what it is. You are possessing the property adverse to the paper owner's interest. So you are possessing the property as if it were your own. So John Brown is on title, Mary Smith is occupying the property, and she's occupying it as if it is her own. She has no regard for John Brown, whether he is the paper owner or not. So in a common scenario, someone started out as a tenant. And of course, if you're a tenant and you're paying your rent consistently for 20 years, you can't claim adverse possession. Because in paying your rent, you are acknowledging that this property does not belong to you. You're just occupying it as a tenant. But let's say you started out as a tenant, you were there from, let's say, 1990 to 2000, you paid your rent. For whatever reason, landlord disappeared, they stopped showing up. You've now been there from 2000 to 2024. You haven't tried to pay rent, you haven't tried to find the landlord, you're just occupying it as if it's your own. In a situation like that really isn't as common that in a situation like that, that would be a case where the permission you had as a tenant has now expired. And once you can show that you are there without anyone's permission, you haven't been disturbed, you're unmolested, then you can make an application for adverse possession. In some cases, landlords will die, they go away, and for whatever reason, then the tenants just never hear from them again. Some don't inquire, they just bide their time, but they can show that they've been there for the requisite time. They go ahead and make an application for adverse possession. So yes, in cases like that, you can legally file a claim for adverse possession once you can clearly show that whatever permission you had has now expired. Many persons automatically think that if someone is making an application for adverse possession and they were in the past a tenant on the property, they assume that it's incorrect or that it is a fraudulent application, but it can happen. Let me jump over to the text line, 876-881-5254. So I'm just trying to sift through the messages. All right. If you occupy property, for example, for 30 years, would you get a greater share than if you had only occupied it for 20 years when making a claim for adverse possession? That's an interesting question. Let me go again. If you occupy property, for example, for 30 years, will you get a greater share than if you had only occupied it for 20 years, claiming adverse possession? No, you would still get the same share. So when you're making a claim for adverse possession for privately owned property, you have to show that you've been there for at least 12 years undisturbed. Government property, it's 0 years. So someone who has occupied property for 12 years, as opposed to someone who has occupied it for 50 years, the person who can show that they've occupied their property for 50 years undisturbed isn't going to get a greater share than the person who has occupied theirs for 12 or 15 years. Once you cross the 12-year threshold, that's it. So somebody who's been occupying it for 12 years, they can still claim 100% ownership. Person who has been occupying it for 50 years, their ownership is still 100%. They're not going to get, well, they're going to get more. they're going to get the same 50 years as opposed to 12 years. All you just show is 12 years. You get the same ownership. But that's an interesting question. I've never got this question. I've never seen it asked. But yeah, same same interest in the
Well,
property.
someone seems outraged,
I
Calicia.
bought a house
Uh,
and it was supposed to be vacant. Now that the sale is finished, I realize there are tenants who refuse to leave. How can I get them out ASAP? All right. Did you have an attorney? Did the seller have an attorney? Did the sale agreement say vacant on possession? You say it was supposed to be vacant. I'm going to assume there was a sale agreement, and I'm going to assume that it said vacant on completion. Um, when a property says vacant on completion, clearly it means that it's the seller's responsibility to ensure that the property is vacant when the transaction is finished. If that does not happen, then clearly that is a breach of contract and you can sue the seller. I'm not sure what may have happened in your case. Um, in fact, tenants can be difficult, especially when it's time for them to leave. So, in many instances, as attorneys, we hold off a bit until the property is actually vacant because we can't say the property is vacant and that when it really isn't. So we can't take a tenant's word for it. And, tenants will say, oh, I'm leaving soon, man, go ahead. Even when a notice has been served, serving a notice doesn't necessarily mean that the property is vacant because tenant can hold over, they can continue there. If it goes to court, it can drag on for months. So in your case, your seller will clearly be in breach. How can you get them out ASAP? I don't know that you can. You're going to have to serve them with a notice, wait for the notice to expire, wait, and it has to be at least 30 days. Once it expires, then you take them to court, and it will take a couple weeks, couple months maybe to get a hearing date. And it is sad because, especially when it comes to landlord and tenant matters, the process can be slow, and it favors the law itself. The Rent Restriction Act favors tenants. I mean, that's just how it is. That law came about at that time to protect tenants. But serving with a notice and best of luck to you. Like I said, you can also sue the seller for breach of contract. This is Land Solution.
Contractors, developers, and small builders. Contact Coast to Coast Group of Companies for high quality concrete products. The time by Coast to Coast Group of Companies is
3 o'clock. Here is a financial literacy tip from your friends at Power 106 FM. The 50-30-20 rule. Creating a budget can help you make confident decisions and enjoy peace of mind. A detailed budget, though, can be complex to manage. For one easy way to plan your spending, you may try using the 50-30-20 rule. It splits expenses into just three categories and also offers recommendations on how much money to use for each. The 50-30-20 rule recommends putting 50% of your money towards needs, 30% towards wants, and 20% towards savings. The savings category also includes money you will need to realize your future goals.
You're listening to Land Solutions during both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Land Solutions, the program where all your land related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Taking your calls on 876-922-4113 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, and we'll give you the combinations. So there's 881-5254. That's 876-881-5254. There's also 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. Those are the numbers which you can use to reach us here on Land Solutions during both sides of the story on Power 106 FM with the contribution, of course, the usual contribution of the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company. For this week, it's Calicia Findlay. Over to you once again, Calicia.
Thanks, Dervan. Continuing with our messages, let me just jump back a little bit to the question I was responding to before. Someone stated that they had bought a property and it was supposed to be vacant on completion, or that the sale has been finalized. They found out that tenants are still living there and they want to know how to get them ASAP. They, like I said, there really is no way of getting them out ASAP. We have to serve them with a notice, then take them to court. Now, a follow-up question from someone else. Read that tenant situation, Miss Finley. Who is responsible for any outstanding utilities? And what's taking so long for the landlord law to be changed? So who's responsible for the outstanding utilities? When you're selling property, the seller has a responsibility to ensure that water rates are paid up to date, and property taxes, of course. So water rates and property taxes. Anything else, let's say electricity, cable, internet, the seller has no legal obligation to pay those. So those companies ought to enter into a contract with the purchaser. So let's say there's money outstanding for electricity. The electricity company needs to go to the seller to get that money, because the seller's only responsibility under the law is to pay up water and property taxes. In this case, with respect to the tenant, if I were taking them to court for them to come out, meaning I'm suing them for possession, I would also add to it that I'm suing them for outstanding utilities, because they're the one in possession. And I would, like I said before, the seller is in breach. So I really would be suing the seller and the tenant. So you can sue the tenant for the utilities. And for those of you who, especially if you don't have an attorney, when you are suing a tenant for utilities, a common mistake I see. So let's just say you've had a tenant, we're in what now? September. So let's say the tenant was supposed to leave in June, or the notice expired in June. When you go to court and you sue them for possession and outstanding utilities, many persons make the mistake of saying outstanding utilities as a June. And then when the case finally gets called up to court in October, and you get what you asked for, the court is going to give you exactly what you asked for. Outstanding utilities up to June. So you're going to have a gap between June and October. So when you're filing your claim on your own, of course, I'm advising you to get an attorney. Ensure that you say, for example, outstanding utilities and continuing, because those two little words make a world of difference. If you just say outstanding utilities at a particular date, so when the claim is filed, that's all you're going to get. But if you say and continuing, you'll get whatever is outstanding up to the date of the order. So just bear that in mind. And the second part of the question, what's taking so long for the landlord law to be changed? So this is the what's referred to as the Rent Restriction Act. I don't have an answer for that question. I direct you to the legislator. From time immemorial, we've been hearing that this act is to be significantly revised. I think we're still waiting on it. I can't tell you why it's taking so long. Let me jump over to WhatsApp. That's 876-881-5254. See a whole bunch of messages coming in. Pertaining to the question asking about probate of a will, if it's a simple will without an executor, does it have to be probated? Yes. So just to be a little technical, if a will doesn't have, if a will doesn't name an executor, it's still valid. It still has to go through the process. It's not referred to as probate, it's referred to as letters of administration with will annex, but it is essentially the same process. And in a case where an executor isn't appointed or named in the will, one of the beneficiaries can make that application. So yes, the will could be as simple as possible. You could say, I give my $10,000 in the bank to John Brown. It still has to be probated. Or I give my one little house at one John Lane to Mary. The will still has to be probated. Whether it is, like I said, as simple or little one paragraph will or 10, 20-page will, yes, it still has to be probated. I would like to know how to go about getting a title. I'm living at my present house from 1999. After my mother's death, I visited my father in England in 2019. Before he died, he told my sister that it was mine. Her father died in 2021. I would like to change the title. My sister has no interest. How can I go about getting the title in my name, please? All right. You didn't say if your father made a will or not. If his name was on the title and if you willed it to you, you can have it probated and then have it transferred to you. If there's no will, then you can send me a follow-up message. But in any event, you said that you have been there since 1999. If you have indeed been there since that time, undisturbed, then you can make a direct application for the title, and that would be an adverse possession application. So feel free to send me a follow-up message. For those of you who would like to call us in office, the office numbers are 876-908-1950 and 876-908-3518. Just a follow-up to the question, is someone else paying taxes? What if the person is paying the taxes for a long time? Is it wise to start paying the taxes now for a property? The question is because we are occupying the land for a long time undisturbed. However, we are in the process of regularizing things with tax payment. When we checked, we found out that someone is already paying the taxes. What should be done now? All right, since you've been occupying it for a long time, let's assume it's over 12 years. And if you want to make a title application, first thing to do is to get the property surveyed. If there is already a title for the property, I would also put a caveat on it to see, because if someone else is paying the property taxes, they may think that the property is theirs, or they may be wanting to at some point make an application for the title. So if there's already a title, it's a caveat on it. You should also go ahead and get the property surveyed, because that is what's going to be needed for you to start your tax application. I can see where you would be put off or disheartened because someone else is paying the property taxes. You may think that even though you have been living there for so many years, that would prevent you from making an application for the title, but that's not correct. The basis of any adverse possession application is possession. So if you can show, notwithstanding that someone else who you may or may not know is paying the taxes, if you can prove that you have indeed been living there, you have, let's say, your old utility bills, etc., your building receipts. Once you can show that proof and you have your witnesses, then you can go ahead and make the title application. It's not going to be a case where you say, all right, I have been living here for 15. I'm sorry, it's not going to be a case where once the title application gets to the title's office, they're going to say, but wait, John Brown says he's been living there for 15 years. He has the proof, yes, but Mary Smith has been paying the taxes. That's not the scenario. Once you can show that you are physically there on the property, you can go right ahead and make the application for the title. I have a two-part question. Can you have 10 people on a title, and can they have different tenancies? Yes to both questions. There's no limit in terms of names that can go on a title, as long as there is enough space. But yeah, there will always be. So you can have 50 people on a title if you want. And yes, you can have different tenancies. So some can be joint tenants, some can be tenants in common. Let's say, for example, there are 3 couples. So that would be 6 people. So one husband and wife can be joint tenants with each other, and each couple then can in turn be tenants in common, whether in equal shares or in unequal shares against the other couple. So it is certainly possible to have a lot of people on a title, and for those see this business ventures, friends come together and say they want to buy this land, they want to develop it, or they want to do this or that. Please think about the meaning, the effect of co-owning property. It is all well and good when your relationship is wonderful, whether it's with a spouse or a friend or some other relative. But when relationships go south, as some inevitably do, it is just pure chaos when land or when property is involved. So think about it carefully. I think just last week I was saying for some persons, when it comes to the Property Rights of Spouses Act, some persons are just opting not to own property any at all. Some have just decided to rent, or they decide to own it maybe with a friend, or So think about other options. I'm not saying don't go into any venture, don't go into any ownership situations with your friends. If you could go into them and if they work out wonderfully. But I'm just saying, please explore all the possibilities. Another common scenario: someone is getting a mortgage from the housing trust. They don't have enough. They don't qualify for the maximum amount of contribution, so they join with someone, and then that goes awry. So just please consider all the scenarios. This is Land Solutions.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now.
Power 106 FM, the digital sound, and now reaching you in more ways. Listen to us on 106.1 to 106.9 on the FM band. You can also listen to us on the Power 106 FM app, which you can download on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can tune in on your mobile phones by dialing 631-359-8281 if you're in the US. And if you're in the UK, you can dial 0330-606-0953. Plus, listen to us on onespotmedia.com and the One Spot Media app, or log on to go-jamaica.com. Power 106 FM, where all views can contend, giving you powerful talk radio in so many ways, on air and online.
We're in the final segment of today's edition of Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4113-5. 876-922-4113-5. We have a couple of text lines, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-881-5254. 876-881-5254. There's also 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. Once again, let's hand you over to attorney at law, Calicia Findlay.
Thank you, Dervan. Continuing with our WhatsApp messages. My father died without leaving a will. My siblings said that we already shared the property among three of them. Is there still a need for letters of administration? And what about the other children for him? All right. If they, let's, I'm not sure how it has been shared, if at all. So let us say it's a situation where he already did a transfer while he was alive to those three children, then that's the end of the matter. They are the owners. I suspect that may not be the case. If it's just word of mouth, it would not be valid. If, however, those three children have been occupying that property for at least 12 years, they can go ahead and make a direct application for the title. So there are different scenarios. If it's a case, however, let's say that your father died last year, less than 12 years ago, and nothing has been done, then yes, you will need to obtain letters of administration, and all of his children will be entitled to a share in the estate. All of his children. Remember, in Jamaica, we no longer have inside and outside children. Children are children, so all of the children will be entitled. Who makes the application for letters of administration? If his wife is still alive, if he was married. If not, one or two or three of the children. It depends if it was transferred before he died. Was it how long those three children have been living on the property, if at all. So send me a follow-up message. But like I said, let me just repeat. If he died relatively recently, nothing has been done, then you need to apply for letters of administration. Can a divorce filing be discontinued if the parties decide to reconcile, and if your matrimonial home ceased to be your matrimonial home, can it once again become your matrimonial home? All right, so can a divorce filing be discontinued if the parties decide to reconcile? Yes, a divorce application filing can be discontinued, it can be withdrawn. Divorces in Jamaica are done in two parts. You have the decree nisi and the decree absolute. The decree nisi is a provisional divorce, meaning you're halfway there. So you can go ahead and withdraw the application even after the nisi has to be granted. If the parties decide to reconcile, no problem. However, if the decree absolute has been granted, then it will be too late. The decree absolute is when you are now officially divorced. So if you are reconsidering and your decree absolute has not been granted, then fine, you can withdraw that application. And if your matrimonial home ceased to be your matrimonial home, can it once again become your matrimonial home? Yes, I don't see why not. So let us say you and your spouse were living together, the relationship broke down, both went your separate ways, now you're back together. Yes, your former matrimonial home, I should say, can once again become your matrimonial home. Just like in a case where, let's say a man is married, he died, and then the wife marries someone else. That person moves into the house that she lived in with her former husband. It can still be their new matrimonial home. So you could have same property being matrimonial home for John and Mary, and then now it can still be matrimonial home for Mary and her new husband. So not an issue at all. Let me go over to Facebook. I was trying to get in as many questions as possible. I know you always say a JP doesn't have to witness a will, but what if I really want a JP to witness mine? And instead of having two witnesses, is it okay if I just use one JP to witness my will? All right, so if you want to have a, let me answer the second part first, which is, and let me go again. If instead of having two witnesses, is it okay if I just use one JP to witness my will? No, it's not. You need two witnesses. Whether it is two laypersons, two average men on the street, you need two witnesses. If one is just a regular old person like me and the other one is a JP, no problem. If it's two justices of the peace, no problem. But you must have at least two witnesses. So one JP doesn't equal two regular persons. Must be two persons, no matter their standing, their profession, what, no matter what. Must be two persons, but of course, as you know, they cannot be beneficiaries or spouses of beneficiaries. Let me jump back to the first part of your question. I know you always say JP doesn't have to witness a will, but what if I want a JP to witness mine? If you want a JP to witness your will, no problem. Again, as long as it's two persons. And why we say that a JP does not have to witness a will is because that's what the law says. Any person over 18 can witness your will. The person can be unemployed, like I said. They don't have to have any sort of profession or standing. Um, and sometimes why we, if a JP witnesses your will, we tell them not to stamp or not to seal the will. It's not necessary. All the witnesses have to do is sign. That's it. In fact, when the JP impresses his or her stamp or seal, sometimes the court asks us to explain why this is there. It's an additional writing on the will, etc. So it's not that we have anything against justice of the peace, but it is not necessary for justice of the peace to witness the will. If the will is witnessed by two persons, two regular persons, doesn't make it any less valid than if it's witnessed by two justices of the peace. And again, if you want a JP to witness the will, go ahead, as long as you have two persons. How can I prove that a will is fraudulent? If you were listening earlier, I'm not sure about the basis of your question, but if you're listening further, please bear in mind, and I'm just saying, I'm not saying this is your case, but I'm just throwing this out there. Not because you haven't received something, out of a will, or it's not what you expected, that sometimes when persons want to contest the will, it's because they are not getting what they thought they would have got from the will. But suffice it to say, how can you prove that a will is fraudulent? You would have to show, let's say, that it was signed under duress. You'd have to get a handwriting expert to show that this was not this person's signature. So you would have to, whoever's filing the will, you would have to, in a sense, sue them in court. And you have to show whatever evidence you have. Most persons use a handwriting expert, say this wasn't this person's signature. Similar to how we always refer to caveats when it comes to property. If a probate application has been filed and you want to challenge it or put a pause on it, you have to file also what's called a caution. Similar to a caveat when it comes to land, but in court with respect to probate, or even letters of administration, you file a caution in
Calicia?
the keyword temporarily.
Sorry, Calicia, we lost you for a bit. We lost you for a bit. Yes, Calicia, we lost you for a bit.
Okay, I'm sorry, Dervan. I actually just lost you for a bit. No problem. Let me just go back over what I was saying with respect to how to prove that a will is fraudulent. I'm not sure where you lost me, but let me just go again. I was saying that not because you're not getting something from a will means that it is fraudulent. And if you want to go ahead and file an application to contest the will, usually you have to get a handwriting expert to prove that this is a fraudulent signature. But you have to also have evidence to show that this person signed under duress. German, are you hearing me?
Yes, hearing you clearly.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, no problem. All right. Can I sell my house if I still have a mortgage on it? This is going to be the rapid fire round. Yes, you can. It doesn't. Having a mortgage on your property doesn't prevent you from selling. In fact, many persons sometimes when they can't bother to, or they can't afford to pay the mortgage, or they see something more attractive, they go ahead and sell the property with the mortgage on it. Usually, what happens in a case like this is once the sale is completed, as the attorney handling the sale, I will pay over to the mortgage company what is outstanding to them, and then give the difference to the seller. Um, Something just popped in my mind. Some persons believe that once you have a mortgage on your property, that you don't have to pay property taxes. That is incorrect. The, the government is not going to give up any revenue. Keep that in the back of your mind. So you must continue paying your property taxes. Your property taxes are not included in your mortgage. Continue paying your property taxes. Are my father's outside children entitled to anything if he dies? If you were listening a couple of minutes ago, in Jamaica, there's no such thing as outside or inside children. That's been the law for many years. So all your father's children are entitled to the same thing that you are. There is absolutely no difference. And can you appoint someone under a will or a power of attorney without their knowledge? Yes, you can. You can. Because technically, when you're writing your will, you can just say, I, John Brown, hereby appoint Mary Smith. Same thing with a power of attorney. The question is, why would you want to? I certainly would not advise anyone to. Because when executors, when Johnny's on the power of attorney realize that they have in fact been appointed. A lot of them are upset, they're reluctant. It's a big responsibility. Why would you not want to have a discussion with someone before appointing them? So yes, it can be done, but I certainly would not advise that you do it. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's edition of Land Solutions. I've been your host for today, Calicia Finlay. Remember, feel free to call us in office from Finlay and Company, 908-950-908-3518. The number for our Ocean office, 974-6083. Thanks as always to Dervan and the wonderful team at Power 106. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Help us protect Jamaica's borders. Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs controlled areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 3:30. Here is a financial literacy tip from your friends at Power 106 FM. Guard your health. If you're uninsured, don't wait to apply for health insurance. If employed, your employer may offer health insurance, including high deductible health plans that save on premiums. Look at quotes from different insurance providers to find the lowest rates. Research all your options to see if you qualify for a subsidy based on your income.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. The lines are open, and so we're taking your calls on 876-922-4113 to 5. Well, 876-922-4112 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number. We have a couple sets of text lines. Well, one of them ended now because of this segment, moving on to another. But for this period, it's 876 365 3346 and 876 279 8598. 876 279 8598. And of course, there is 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. So those are the lines to reach us on. Those are the options open to you. Please feel free to take full advantage of it and go ahead and share your thoughts, your ideas, your concerns, your issues with us here on both sides of the story. So we're taking your calls on 876 922 4112 to 5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. And hello to those of you who have joined us. Hubert Fowlin, Inez Ayona Campbell, good afternoon. Norman Hines, Mike Montgomery, hello to you too. Valerie Weller Peck, good to have you on board. Velta Wilson says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and listeners on this marvelous Monday. Good afternoon, Velta Wilson. Faye Weller says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan and faithful listeners. Thank God for another new week. We're together again. Blessings, says Faye Weller. And J.M. Master Songwriter, Miss B, says, greetings, Mr. Malcolm. Greetings to you too, Miss B. Thank you very much for joining us here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM, as we continue to take your calls on 876 365 3346. That's for the text line, same as the WhatsApp number. And the other message calls, let's see. This one says, and we're sorry to hear this from Rascabo. All right, I'm not sure if he wants us to put all the information out there, but just to say that a Nissan, and that's as much as we have at this stage, a Nissan, which was stolen from Bushy Park in Clarendon on Sunday night, stolen from a teacher's home. How the teacher going to teach your children when she can't get to work on time and focus on your children's education? It's a thought worth considering. What a thing. Can you imagine? So it's a Nissan stole. It doesn't say Nissan what make Nissan, what make it is. Well, it's a Nissan stolen from Bushy Park in Clarendon on Sunday night. And the person is telling us it's stolen from a teacher's home and asking the self-searching question, how is the teacher going to teach your children when she can't get to work on time and focus on your children's education? We don't make the connections, it's a rather pertinent question. We don't make the connections at all. We don't make the connections. Well, if there's anyone who has any information, check in at the nearest police station. And if there are other areas that need to be checked, get some help with family members or friends or colleagues to check out this situation. If we hear anything, we'll come back to you. And call coming through here now. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, Mr. Malcolm, I'm calling you back quickly. I called before you get the land solution there. In regards to the FLA.
The Firearms
Um,
Licensing Authority, yes.
yes, in the behavior, how they want to bring the country to his knee in the behavior. Now, I get a call, somebody, when I hang up, somebody called me from Europe and said they have similar experience, and I tell you, I couldn't have my meal. Because I thought it was me alone have that experience. I feel so bad.
And you mean now the experience in terms of the person's posture and attitude, etc.? Hello?
Yes, I was saying we really have to fix it.
Yes, agreed.
People have to fix the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love this country, man, and I tell you, it is kind of behavior. I mean, something that you're entitled. If once you are competent, these people is acting as if it is a privilege.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder who is training these people. No wonder the country is so hard, Mr. Malcolm. Protocols are there and they are not being followed. And not until you test it. When I used to go to a particular school, anytime the Minister of Education come in there, or a school inspector, there's special tidying done. Right? And as soon as the inspector gone back to normal, we need to get away from that, Mr. Malcolm.
True. You are correct. All right, we lost the connection. Sorry about that. So there's that scenario with the stolen vehicle. And just making sure we have put the information out there. All right. Sorry, under the circumstances. Sorry about that, Raskava. We trust that, and whoever else has found themselves in that kind of scenario, terribly sorry to hear that, and hope that the vehicle is retrieved. This one says, "Afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Is it Gloria Brown who lost a relative a few days ago?" As I've heard, yes. Her husband, I believe. And we did convey condolences last week. Although we were really surprised. Had no idea. Please accept once again our sincerest condolences. All the best to Ms. Brown and her family. As we continue with more on your program, both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. We see Franklin McDonald has sent us a link. UK's first teacherless AI classroom set to open in London. That's something worth checking out. And let's continue. 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. And let's see who else is messaging us. What's this? Hi, how are you taking the departure of the Minister of Finance, Mr. Clark? Well, we wish him well. We wish him and his family well. And the person also says, good to see you smiling. Never stop for me. Enjoy the day, diaspora. Okay. Thank you for your message and all the very best to you. And we have been going through the messages and sharing them as insofar as is possible. And that's a bit of what we've been doing. And also seeing messages from Calvin of Frank Lawrence. He says, greetings, teacher. As we return to school, especially in the school of life, often the word impact is used to describe conditions or negative conditions after a disaster. Example, the recent hurricane. A good example to describe this would be a passenger vehicle crashing into an electrical pole on a bushy highway. The impact would create a lot of negative effects. For example, casualties, severe injuries, destroyed vehicle, blocked highway, electrical blackout for the community, stress on hospital emergency facilities, and the list goes on and on. Hope this picture will help to clarify the overuse and misuse of this word in describing disastrous conditions. On the other side of the coin, an impact can produce positive effects. Thank you. And this is coming from Reverend Dr. Frank Lawrence, otherwise known as Free Villager. Thank you very much for making your contribution here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. And let's see what the other messages are. Let's go down the line, trying to see the other messages that we haven't opened. And let's take the break in the meantime.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45. Mosquitoes will breed in containers that hold water. Tightly cover water storage containers such as drums, buckets, and tanks, or cover the water surface with cooking oil. Punch holes in all tins, plastic containers, and boxes to prevent the collection of water before disposal. Cover old tires or fill with dirt. Scrub all vases once per week to remove mosquito eggs and dispose of garbage by placing in plastic bags. Do your part to prevent mosquito breeding.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
How much do you know about spices and the impact they have on your everyday life? Join us every first and third Thursday during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie at 6:18 a.m. for Spice Up Jamaica. We'll give you tips, tidbits, and interviews about the revitalization and sustainability of the Jamaican spices, including ginger, turmeric, and pimento. That's Spice Up Jamaica every first and third Thursday at 6:18 a.m. during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM. Spice Up Jamaica is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture Food for Progress Jamaica Spices Project. Power 106 FM, the digital sound, and now reaching you in more ways. Listen to us on 106.1 to 106.9 on the FM band. You can also listen to us on the Power 106 FM app, which you can download on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can tune in on your mobile phones by dialing 631 359 8281 if you're in the US. And if you're in the UK, you can dial 0330 606 0953. Plus, listen to us on onespotmedia.com and the One Spot Media app, or log on to go-jamaica.com. Power 106 FM, where all views can contend, giving you powerful talk radio in so many ways, on air and online.
It has also been brought to our attention that Dalkeith F. Hannah from Linstead has passed. And there are the letters RIP here, and his title of champion farmer. And this information brought to our attention apparently by Jerry Small, talk show host. Well, we join all those who, and even those who perhaps don't know of his work, but he has done a lot of work over the years, a lot of service, and condolences to his family, friends, colleagues, neighbors. We wish them well. Take care. So it is. So it is. As we continue on today's edition of Both Sides of the Story on Power 106 FM, still taking your calls on 876 922 4112 to 5, 876 922 4112 to 5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. And Calvin of North York, Ontario, Canada, also checks in with us from time to time. And we appreciate that. Thank you very much. In the meantime, we continue to take your calls, your messages, your questions, your issues, your concerns on both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. The numbers to call once again, 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. And we saw the message earlier on, Neville, otherwise known as Salah. We did receive it and take note of its contents. Thank you very much. And hello as well to Mr. MacDonald once again on the subject. Is it this one? No, not this one. Where's the one on the... let's see. I know it's quite a few messages. Bear with us. So someone is asking here. Good day, Dervan. You find what happened to the bus schedule for NMIA, that's Norman Manley International Airport. I have been waiting for 1200 hours and it is 1534 hours and no bus to take you from the airport to downtown. Okay. Um, Not sure who made that promise, but we're sorry that you've had to be waiting for so long upon arrival. We hope things materialize as they should. And somebody said, well, I don't know if it's the same person who then says, this is the situation every day, and nobody understands the valuable time lost doing nothing. And I, no, here's another one. This is it. This one says, "Hi, Mr. Malcolm. It would be great if Jamaicans came off the JPS grid, but contrary to what the caller said, installing solar costs millions of dollars, and frankly, the majority of us cannot afford it." And this is from Angie. This one, someone heard the announcement of the passing of that outstanding Jamaican, and responds by saying, this person responds by saying, "Missed the name of the champion farmer." All right, let's see if we can retrieve. It's Dal Keith F. Hanna. And he at one stage was the champion farmer in his category. So I hope the person got the message. That's the individual who was referenced earlier on. May his soul rest in peace. All right. Thank you for staying with us here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Whatever is on your mind, your thoughts, your ideas, your suggestions, your questions, your issues, your concerns, the lines are open. 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. As we continue to take more of your calls on your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM. And we welcome those who have joined us and thank those who are always with us for keeping up with us here on Both Sides of the Story on Power 106 FM. And so, just picking up a story of a shooting on Chicago train leaves 4 people dead. Suspect was captured on a CTA Pink Line. It just popped up. a short while ago. And there is another message. Is it this one? Someone has sent us a picture as well with that message. Croydon in the mountains. It's quite a sight to behold. And it's taking a while for this one to open. Yes, this is Croydon in the mountains. And just trying to figure out who sent this one. But it's right here in Jamaica. Croydon, it's a lovely place. Very nice. Very nice. And someone is trying to tell us something, but I'm not seeing any further information, except that images may be subject to copyright. Okay. And let's see. As we continue with more here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5 and the text line 876-365-3346. Let's see if we can pick up the other messages to continue. Okay. All right. The settings, just to make a slight adjustment here on both sides of the story here on Oral 106 FM. And we're still taking your calls and your WhatsApp numbers. But you've been sending us so many messages that now this one is at capacity, this device. So we're going to need to make some adjustments in that regard. But in the meantime, you can call us or otherwise message us. There's more after the break.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is 4 o'clock. The world is watching now. People looking for truth. We must not live now. Be sure before we close our eyes and walk away from fear to the healing side. Here we are all there. There seems to be a center of the storm. And there's one spring that has shining side of the line that has been drawn. They've been fighting hillbillies, like mountains killing on the streets. While small coffees are on the side, now united in defeat. All we always need to hear both sides of the story. Oh,
Walk away from here.
White man turns the corner, finds himself within a different world. Ghetto kid grabs his shoulder, throws him up against the wall. He says, would you respect me if I didn't have this gun? 'Cause without it, I don't get it, and that's why I carry one. We always need to hear both sides of the story, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story. Yes, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. And exclamation here from someone who says, oh my goodness, Dalkeith Hannah, this has totally blown me. I was not expecting to hear this when I asked you to repeat the name of the champion farmer, if I knew him. He was my landlord at one point in the 80s. So sorry to hear. Condolences to his family. We join you in conveying condolences. Sorry to hear that. Here is another message. This time from Horace, otherwise known as Spider. He says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan or Mr. Malcolm. I must say that the government fixed the section of road coming off the bridge from Portmore. That's right-hand lane. And that railing at that school at 3 miles. And they fixed the sewage water. And they fixed the sewage. Or you mean stop the sewage water from flowing on Waltham Park Road in front East Road, plus that section of the road on Brotherton Avenue of Spanish Town Road. But that very, very bad state of road on the same Waltham Park Road and Hagley Park Road stoplight is very bad. So is Russell Road, and those two sections of road, or that section of that two sections of road, those segments or sections of the road are bad, very bad. I think that they would have fixed those before schools reopen, but they didn't. That didn't happen. Oh wow, and that's one of the challenges of our times in terms of the road network. The amount of drivable portions of the network is not keeping up at all. Well, thank you for the information. Thank you for sharing the information with us. So you're saying that the government fixed the section of road coming off the bridge from Portmore, that's right-hand lane, and that railing at that school. That's a school, one of the schools I attended actually, in the 3 Miles area. And that's Coburn Gardens. When I was attending Coburn Gardens, it was Coburn Gardens. What was it? Coburn Gardens. Oh, Coburn Gardens All Age School. That's what it was. Coburn Gardens All Age School. And I think it has changed now, or has been transformed to Coburn Gardens Primary and Infant School. So you're telling us, Horace, that that railing at the school at 3 Miles, and they fixed the sewage water, or dealt with the problem of sewage water on Waltham Park Road, in front East Road, plus that section of road on Brotherton Avenue off Spanish Town Road. But that very, very bad state of road on the same Waltham Park Road, Waltham and Hagley Park Road stoplight is very bad. So is Russell Road, and the two sections of the roadway are bad, very bad. I think they would have, I thought they would, let me translate then, sorry. I thought they would have fixed those before schools reopen, but it didn't happen. That must be quite a disappointment for you, Horace, otherwise known as Spider. Over to the National Works Agency. That's Stephen Shaw and his team. All the best. And let's see. The above property. Oh, the above property was owned and operated by Dalkeith Hannah. So there's the connection. And that's a connection with that place name. Let's see if we can bring it up. That's something we don't do very well at. Joining the dots. Joining the dots. So that's a bit of information on Croydon, Croydon, Croydon Mountains. Lovely property. Croydon in the mountains. All right, thank you very much for sharing, the circumstances notwithstanding. As we continue with more here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112 The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-922-4112 Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. And who is this now? Saying, today we lost our former locomotive driver from the Jamaica Railway Corporation, Linton Dwyer, aka Willie. May his soul rest in peace. We join you in conveying condolences to Linton Dwyer, aka Willie. Again, may his soul rest in peace, and light perpetual shine on his face. We continue to give thanks and generate a high level of appreciation for all our experiences and all we have been privileged to experience. We give thanks. So we thank you very much for staying in touch with us here on both sides of the story, Paro 106 FM. Natalie Winter says, hey, Dervan, watching from Washington Gardens, Kingston, Jamaica. Pleasant viewing all. That's from Natalie Winter. Thank you for your message, Natalie, and all the very best to you as we continue to take more of your calls. 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5, and the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. So it is. And we're still looking out for that stolen Nissan motor car from Bushy Park in Clarendon on Sunday night. And the message that was attached or positioned just below the vehicle was most appropriate to challenge the hearts and minds of those planning to do evil. So let's continue with those numbers again, 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. Thank you very much for your continuing listenership and support as we get ready to take another break here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
450. Tiles, and more tiles. It's the Totally Tiles sale event at Home and Things. Enjoy up to 70% off select mosaic tiles. Check out our new arrivals of elegant Spanish porcelain and stylish ceramic at unbelievably low prices. Save big on A-grade floor and wall tiles. Trendy designs, colors, and sizes. We've got it all. Plus other discounts store-wide. Catch the Totally Tiles sale event now on at Home and Things, Old Hope Road and Constant Spring Road. Lots of tiles, lots of styles.
Morning Agenda continues the tradition of providing a unique platform for healthy public debate. Weekdays from 7:15 to 9 a.m. Join Jody and Corey on Mondays and Tuesdays, and Kemwan McKendron on Wednesdays and Thursdays, while they alternate on Fridays, as they set the agenda and break down the issues and keep you informed on what matters to you most. Morning Agenda, speaking with the stakeholders, movers and shakers of our day, serving listeners in Jamaica and around the world. Stay tuned to the Morning Agenda on Power 106 FM, weekdays 7:15 to 9 a.m., where we set the agenda. The brother strikes, sister says, the child is just us from now on. All we always need is a little side of storm. A little side of storm. And the lights are on, the world is watching now. People looking for truth, we must not live now. Sure, before your eyes, walk away from me to the inside. Here we are again, but what seems to be the same old story. Neighbors once buried us standing side of the night.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Here's a reminder from, who's this now? Cuban in Georgia. He says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. It's a Labor Day holiday today and the official ending of the summer holiday. Thank you for that reminder, Cuban in Georgia, in the United States of America. Thank you very much for connecting with us, as usual, here on Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. And so we continue taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 5. So there are certain origins, traditions, and significance of Labor Day in America. It's a federal holiday on the first Monday of September every year. The first Monday of September every year. A federal holiday, Labor Day in the USA. And it has become the unofficial end of summer. And the history goes back a bit, 130 years, is it? Labor Day has deep roots in the 130 years of the labor movement and its efforts to improve working conditions in America. It is also known as International Workers' Day or May Day. Okay. Thank you very much for redirecting our attention for a moment there, Cuban in Georgia. Thank you. As we continue with more on Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, providing you a platform from which you can express yourself within a reasonable, and some would say beyond a reasonable amount of time. But the idea is to share airtime with you, our faithful listeners and viewers at home and abroad here during Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. We always look forward to hearing from you, 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. So keep those calls coming and those comments as well. 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, 876-365-3346. You have certainly sent us a lot of messages to the point where the mailbox was crying out. And a little clearance has taken place, but there is still more work to be done in that regard. Who is this now? Let's see. This one says, good day. Why is the volume so low? Yes, we're terribly sorry about that. Terribly sorry about that. Let's send this concern to the engineers to bring it. Yeah, we'll put it in the transmission, TV, radio WhatsApp group. And let's see. So we'll await a reply. In the meantime, yes. So it's saying here, why is the volume so low? All the other channels are audible. Yes, something is definitely wrong. If all the other channels are audible and we are not, something is wrong there. Something is wrong. So over to the team of engineers here at Lyndhurst Road, and in particular, those whose duty it is to keep the transmission going as clearly and as audibly as possible. And because that has been brought to my attention, I therefore have had to lift the volume even further, which is not supposed to happen. But so it is. We want to ensure that our listeners are able to hear us when we speak. And when we announce the numbers for you to call, 876-922-4112-5. The text line, the same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. Yes, we can turn it up as well. Well, vocally speaking, if we need to. Thank you very much. As we continue with more on your program, both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. And the text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Whatever's on your mind, please feel free to share. We're ready to listen and to exchange ideas and make suggestions and to take suggestions as well. With your support. After all, it is your program, both sides of the story, on Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world, and taking your calls and your messages as usual here on both sides of the story. And oh, by the way, yeah, we didn't say good day earlier on, did we? Good day. Good day to you too. Thank you very much for messaging us with respect to the volume. Thank you. And all the very best as we keep the messages coming in. And the text line, of course, is the same as the WhatsApp number. Still trying to find that other link that Mr. Franklin McDonald has shared with us. Is it this one? What do all these IAJ? Oh, that's the IAJ. IAJ hosts conference on AI, climate change, and fraud. That's the Insurance Association of Jamaica. That's a timely one. The Insurance Association of Jamaica, IAJ, hosting a conference on artificial intelligence, climate change, and fraud. Let's see how that goes. That should do very well for a conference, especially in these times. Sharon Donaldson is the president of the IAJ, the Insurance Association of Jamaica, IAJ, will be hosting a business conference September 11 to 12 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, and the conference will be held under the theme Navigating Risks in the 21st Century, Artificial Intelligence, Climate Change, and Fraud. So that's where it's at. And it's a timely exchange, very, very timely. The story tells us the Insurance Association of Jamaica, IAJ, will be hosting a business conference September 11 to 12 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. The conference will be held under the theme Navigating Risks in the 21st Century, Artificial Intelligence, Climate Change, and Fraud. Sharon Donaldson, president of the IAJ, stated in July, Jamaica experienced damage to the agricultural sector and the energy infrastructure by Hurricane Beryl. The peak of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season is still ahead. Projections continue to forecast an above active season due to warming ocean temperatures caused by climate change. Given the range of threats facing the insurance industry and by extension Jamaica's economy, this conference is both timely and critical. That's what I was saying too. It will spotlight key themes such as climate change and catastrophic peril insurance, reinsurance, the average clause and catastrophe excess, artificial intelligence and data privacy, and leveraging technology to manage fraud. That's quite a handful, but no doubt the participants can handle it and more. So make it a date, the 11th and the 12th of September, the IAJ Conference, Insurance Association of Jamaica. Let's continue taking more of your calls here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, when we come back from the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30. Listen up, Jamaica. At Fosrich, everybody's getting a solar water heater. $20,000 deposit. 6 months to pay. What a deal. Fosrich Financing. Call us 876-937-5099.
There's a story we came upon. I'm not sure. I think it's bona fide, but just double checking. And this is this involves Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt already made his thoughts clear as another 16-year-old breaks his record. Usain Bolt has seen his sprint times beaten by Gout and Nikekoi Bramwell in recent months, but he remains philosophical on his achievements being topped. Usain Bolt has already expressed his thoughts about youngsters breaking his records as he hailed new personalities emerging in the sport. This week witnessed another of Bolt's records toppled as 16-year-old Australian sensation Gout sprinted to a silver medal with a time of 20.60 seconds in the 200 meters at the Under 20 World Championships in Peru. The youngster's time edged out Bolt's 2002 achievement in that age category when he was just 15. And let's see. So the person who sent this voice note, we'll need to listen to it off air to make a determination going forward. All right, this one. And this message, we have messages coming in the dozens now. This one says, "Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I hope this finds you well. The caller with the complaint about the FLA is not wrong." Well, nobody said he was. "I went in on Monday of last week to do my annual re-registration. Note briefly, expiry date 2026, and my competence was completed 2023. So I'm only there to show that the firearm is still in my possession and pay the annual fee. It took 4.5 hours to go repeatedly to Windows to complete different forms requiring the same information: last name, first name, date of birth, TRN, signature. In my experience, most government departments have been trying to improve their efficiency and customer service, all except all except, where's the rest of it now? Frozen. What is this? Right, so trying to improve their efficiency and customer service, all except at the FLA, whose officious, unsmiling countenance is a disgrace to Jamaica. Sadly, this also is transmitted to the King Alarm guards, who address you with their eyes raised to the ceiling, as if to let you know that you are a disturbance to their day and they are not there to be of assistance to customers. To have our citizens waste half of a working day just to re-register your licensed firearm seems almost deliberate attempt to frustrate legal license holders into walking out without collecting the firearm. I think that a radio call to the chairman of the FLA board, is required to find out A, whether he is aware that this situation prevails, and B, whether he is satisfied that is currently that it currently requires the F holder wasting 4.5 hours, F there for firearm holder, wasting 4.5 hours simply to pay the government.
Just few items not too long. The creation of money or money is created. There's a video on YouTube which says how money is created and who controls the money. I think it's a very important thing for most of us should know, or everyone.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, not to make money, to create it, create jobs and whatever, that we learn from it.
Okay.
Very important. Yes. And so, Malcolm, I was asking you last year one question, and Beryl, give me a confirmation. Beryl, come on, Beryl, give me a confirmation. Whereby after certain activity in our atmosphere, cause all that type of weather changes and weather pattern. Right, Beryl,
Well, we can't make certain pronouncements because we are not professionally
no, neither do I.
matched to those areas.
What when I learn, I see, the thing when I learn, the earthquake will come after burial. That's a part of the connection of the climate change and everything. Because it's like everything connected, Everything connected. When you see one series, then another series pending and so forth and so forth. So after the hurricane, you have the earthquake. Just like when we try to tell you, I believe I try to tell you that when the earth hot, when it's cooling down, you're gonna get an earthquake. I don't remember if I did tell you that. As in June, July, the place was very, very hot. And then now in August, when it started cooling down, that was just last month again. Then you get the earthquake. Just as in last year, Last year, one time it's very hot, and then in October, then you get the earthquake when time of cool down back. So it's not profit. It's not what you call it now. It's not a prophecy. It's just what you call data. Check on the data and it show you that. Most anyone could Try and look it up. After you are.
Hello?
Yes, Brother Malcolm.
Yes. Lost a bit of what you were saying. Go ahead, please.
Oh, I say, I kind of do a little study whereby me no use no instrument and no, what you call it, no, me no use no instrument. I just check back in time of a certain thing and certain thing occurred. It's like load effort and fulcrum. You have the earth, the earth activity, all of them link up to another. Even though we might not acknowledge it, Yeah, man. So I just wish for the best for the 2020, for the rest of 2024.
Yes.
Right, that is it. All right.
All right. Thank you very much for the call. All the best.
Okay, Mr. Malcolm.
All right. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Still taking your calls on 876-924-112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. We still have a few minutes to go as we continue with more on both sides of the story, Paro 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world, and taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. There's more after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45. How much do you know about spices and the impact they have on your everyday life? Join us every first and third Thursday during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie at 6:18 a.m. for Spice of Jamaica. We'll give you tips, tidbits, and interviews about the revitalization and sustainability of the Jamaican spices, including ginger, turmeric, and pimento. That's Spice of Jamaica every first and third Thursday at 6:18 a.m. during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM. Spice of Jamaica is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture Food for Progress Jamaica Spices Project.
If I didn't have this love, 'cause without it, I don't get it. And that's why I carry on. We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. There's both sides of the story. 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 Find yourself in the color in our lonely part of town. Waited weeks in the darkness of the whereby to cut some strange down. Sleeping with an empty bottle, deciding He needs you a job, a little respect, get out while he can. We always need to hear both sides of the story.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world, taking your calls on 876 922 4112 to 5, 876 922 4112 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346, 876 365 3346. Faye Weller says she's here watching. Thank you for tuning in. This one says, Sir Malcolm, why did we do away with all forms of sugar production? Sugar is very essential to the survival of humans. That was a wrong decision on the part of government, even to supply our own selves. We should never abolish sugar production. Says, who is this now? This is, let's see. This is Cuban in Georgia, is it? Yes. So that is his perspective on that subject. Thank you very much for your message, Cuban in Georgia, as we continue with more on both sides of the story, Paro 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And there's another bit, this one, all working. Oh no, that's a dated one. Let's go up the line. Let's go up the line. Right, so this was a bit about the summer. Good day, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. It's a Labor Day holiday today and the official ending of the summer holiday. Sir Malcolm, what happened to the reopening of schools for Titchfield High and Happy Grove High? I heard there was no repair to both high schools. No, I wasn't aware of that. Wonder if any what happened. We just wonder. But every institution will need the benefit of the work of the restoration or transformation team, however you call them. So want to make sure that those institutions that are in need are in fact benefiting and able to continue the process of restoration and transformation. We hope so, because time flies, and in no time it's going to be that time before you know it, etc., etc. You get the picture. So in the next few minutes we have, let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Horror 106 FM. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 5, 876-922-4112 to 5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. And we thank you very much. Keep those messages coming in. And wherever in the world you are, thank you very much. We appreciate your listenership and support. Just trying to clear these. Hello. Hello.
Good afternoon, teacher. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm good so far. Hold on one second. I'm okay. Teacher, I'm going to say something to you.
Go ahead.
Teacher, that they have said to you, you see, the reason why I call you, you see, I tell you the other day that I did do a video on TikTok and I ask for help. I tell people to help me on TikTok, but I still cannot get a call from nobody.
Well, have you checked with have you checked with the institution that you're registered, with which you're registered?
No, teacher.
Well, that is what I would suggest, because they do look out for individuals in your position. That's the purpose of that operation that was set up.
Yeah. I know what I want, teacher. I want to go to school. I want to go to the trading school. You know what I would like to do at the school? I would like to learn data operations. I would like to fix computers and those stuff at the school.
None of those areas are covered at the school?
No.
All right, but have you checked in with Heart NSTA Trust?
No. I never check in with the Heart NSTA Trust, but I have to check it out.
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah. Teach, before I go, you see, me can ask you one question, please.
Go ahead.
Teacher, when it was Independence Day this year, I listened to the Grand Gala on the radio. Can I ask you a question? Who was the commentator that was at the Grand Gala? The commentator that made the announcements at the Grand Gala. What's his name?
I didn't have the luxury of sitting watching the Grand Gala. I wasn't able to.
Because let me tell you something, the reason why I ask, because I always hear that individual announce radio and TV commercials.
I'm sorry, I'll have to check back. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a media practitioner or something.
Mm. Yes.
Yes, I understand what you are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so take care, teacher.
Same to you.
Yeah, next time we will talk.
All right, all the best. This is still your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Getting ready to wrap today's edition of, oh my goodness, it's the end of already. Okay. Right, so thank you very much. for making it both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. All things being well, both sides of the story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, on behalf of our broadcast engineer, we want to thank you very much for being a part of the experience here of both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. And we want to thank all those who have participated, all those who have called. Big thank you to Adrian Reed. Thank you very much, Adrian, for making it both sides of the story and all the work that you do behind the scenes. And all things being well, both sides of the story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care. If I didn't have this song.
That's why I carry one. You always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Yes, both sides of the story.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
news, comprehensive, powerful, and credible. Power 106 FM
Bye.
presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's news at 5.